Welcome to Democracy 2.0 with Wayne Bouchard. Welcome, Wayne.
Good afternoon, Malcolm. How are you today?
Okay. By the way, you're hearing this on malcolmpresents.com, which is a new streaming internet show. Actually, it's an internet platform. Anyway, I'm fine, thank you. Anything you'd like to talk about? Anything new?
You know, Malcolm, I was really scratching my head today thinking, God, you know, there's really not a whole lot to talk about. There's nothing going on in the world. There's nothing short of absolute total chaos going on in the world. You know, the Supreme Court rulings, the January 6th hearings, the meetings over in Madrid regarding NATO membership, you know, the attack on the you know, retail mall in Ukraine by a Russian missile. What else is there to talk about?
Yeah, I'm at a loss for topics.
Yeah, and you know, I thought that what was interesting to me was that the you know, the extreme right-wing movement of the Republican Party in the last few years, you know, and it's just been culminated by these recent Supreme Court decisions, which, you know, they are responsible for, since, you know, 3 of those 6 justices that voted in favor of overturning Roe v. Wade and a lot of other things, you know, were appointed by Donald Trump.
You're right.
And, you know, Mitch McConnell beating on his chest, saying that, you know, it was me because I held up Obama's Supreme Court nominee for whatever it was, 7 or 8 months. And, you know, and then we were able to get another conservative justice in there. It would have been a lot closer.
Is that Brett Kavanaugh that they got in?
No, it was Amy Comey that they got in.
Was it? No.
Yeah, she was the last one. No, it was, I don't know. Yes, it was Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah, because she came in for when Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah, when she passed away.
Yeah. Yeah. Now my phone's ringing.
Oh,
That'll go off in a minute.
Somebody's pinging me that wants an answer.
They want answers.
They want an answer to a question, you know, before the end of the day, and guess what? They're not going to get it.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think you know, for me personally, I go back to the 60s. You know, and it was was in the 60s, and the defeat, I believe, of Barry Goldwater, who's been in the news lately because he's the guy who led the parade down to talk to Richard Nixon to get him to resign in the 70s. But, you know, the conservative movement took a real beating when Barry Goldwater lost. And I think they kind of huddled together and decided that they were going to have an opportunity to make change in this country, and it took them a long time.
Well, I remember that Barry Goldwater, the big thing on him was that if he became president, we would have a nuclear war, because he was a real hawk.
Yes. You know, and it was and I hate to keep harping on this, but you know, it was the white conservative males, and they enlisted the help of the Christian right wing, and you know, they had this feeling that their country had been taken away from them. It was taken away from them by the liberals, and they were going to take it back, and you know, they were going to restore, you know, their form of thinking on the rest of the world, the patriarchal system, and traditional Christian values. And we can see it.
The funny, not the funny thing, the thing which I don't understand is you see the right wing saying we're not a racist society. And I don't see that, I don't see where, especially the churches, they didn't let black Christians in. There were black churches and there were white churches.
Correct.
And a black Christian couldn't get into a white church. And is this equality? Is this where we're not racists?
Of course it's not equality, and they they seemingly, have a small percentage of black and brown members. I don't know if you could call them radical right wing Republicans, but they are there.
Yeah.
They march them out. A typical example would be down in Georgia. They have this Herschel Walker running for the Senate, ex football player, ex Heisman Trophy winner. High publicity guy.
He was a great football player, that's for sure. I mean, he's built like a tank, and he was fast. I remember Herschel Walker. He played for Georgia, University of Georgia. Yeah. I think he went to Dallas, the Cowboys.
Lawrence Taylor was a great football player too, but I don't think he would have made a very good congressman.
I don't think Herschel Walker would make a very good congressman. But the whole campaign was that he was running on his background versus they never asked him on his policies.
Right. But
again, going back to the Christian right, they were the ones that, as I say, profess equality, but they don't want to do anything to help the poor. If there's any funding, the federal government can help out the poor, whether it be welfare, whether it be housing, whether it be whatever. And they're the ones that say, and again, I think we talked about this once. If you follow the teachings of Jesus, he's the one that would help the poor. He's the one that, which is actually Christian Judeo type of philosophy.
Absolutely.
If you, even if you don't have enough money, if you have dinner in your house, you come and you invite somebody that doesn't have the money for dinner and share whatever you got.
Absolutely. And, that's one of my pet peeves about organized religion. But, then, we have now we have Fox News and all these other conservative networks helping these guys. And, the Republicans really turned extremists in the 1990s. We think about today, we think about these conspiracy theories. How about the conspiracy theories that swirled around Hillary Clinton back in the 90s? That Hillary actually had Vince Foster murdered. Remember that one?
Yeah, she didn't. No,
then of course the Republicans held Bill Clinton hostage. With his shutting down they were going to shut down the government because they thought Clinton was on the wrong track. Which leads us to and then of course we all witnessed the impeachment of Bill Clinton, and then George W. Bush was elected president. And I never thought I would say it, and I never thought I would see the day, but I'd like to see George W. back in the White House.
Well,
in comparison to Donald Trump, let's say.
Was it him or his son that started the war with the Middle East with Iraq?
That was George W.
That was the Papa, right?
No, George H.W. was back in the, after Reagan, and then we had Clinton, and then we had George W., the
George
son.
W. Because that's probably one of the worst decisions ever made by the US government, by the president.
Yes,
I mean, it's sort of like what Russia is doing now with Ukraine. They couldn't possibly rule it. If the people don't want the Russians there, they're not going to be able to keep them there. There's no way
no.
that they can rule a country if they don't have enough people.
I think the Ukrainians would fight till the last Ukrainian at this point. It would be like Afghanistan all over.
Afghanistan and Iraq, same thing.
But the US government had no plan for what they would do after the war.
Right.
All they wanted to do was go in there and wipe out Saddam Hussein, and then they had no plan after
right.
that.
I don't see what winning would mean. I don't see if Russia and Ukraine, what does winning the war mean? What would happen?
Russia would take over Ukraine. They would occupy the country, and its 80 million citizens would be Russian citizens.
Yeah, well, some of them, are Russian already, but
yeah, but they don't feel any great allegiance to Russia.
But I think that would be the same thing as Afghanistan, and they were in Afghanistan and they couldn't win Afghanistan.
No,
they got out. I think the same thing if they won the war, quote unquote, in Ukraine, they'd leave after 10 years with the loss of a lot of troops.
Right. Well, let's before we run out of time, let's shift gears and talk about the Supreme Court decision about Roe v. Wade, which was the most heinous decision that the Supreme Court has ever turned in my lifetime. They basically took away the rights of women, the reproductive rights of women that they've had for 50 years. It's unprecedented in American history.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, like, when Coney or Kavanaugh went in front of when they were being interviewed by the Senate, for the approval, and they completely lied to them. They said, "Oh no, we're not going to undo precedent. Roe v. Wade was precedent, and we're not going to put our personal opinion in." Actually, this is their personal opinion.
Yes, absolutely. Justice Alito's, he wrote for the majority, and he just said that 50 years of entrenched legal precedent was no longer valid. And he said that the court never had the right to make this decision because it was a poor decision. And it really is, according to all the legal experts, it really takes aim at our entire legal system and the rule of law. And the justices even said they don't care about public opinion. They don't care.
Well, in actuality, that's one of the positive things. They shouldn't care about public opinion. They should do what they consider right. But the thing is, what you hear people say, and you hear the right wing saying, "Oh, now women, we shouldn't have 9 justices determine what a woman would do." But they never did, or the legislature didn't determine what women would do. If they didn't want an abortion, they wouldn't be forced to have an abortion.
Right. Nobody's forcing anybody to have an abortion.
It was legal. So no one really dictated to the woman. If that was against her, moral, that was against her, she did not have to do an abortion. It wasn't mandatory.
Correct. And some of today's, abortion laws that are on the books that are going into effect, like Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. I mean, they don't even make any exceptions. There's no exception for rape or incest.
No.
And to me, that's just patently wrong. Forget.
Yeah, now you're freezing up on me a little bit. I don't know how I'm with you. Are you there?
To a child that was conceived from a rape.
Right.
No way.
Right.
And to deny a woman the right to life, her right to life, because of a medical problem with a pending pregnancy is just unheard of.
Yeah, and I forgot where it was, Mississippi or one of the states. They say they care for the women, blah blah blah, but they are the more women die, either during pregnancy or after pregnant or post pregnancy, post giving birth, than any other state in the union. And the kids are taken care of. The state don't say, okay, we'll take care of the kids. I'll put them in an institution.
Yeah, so now we have all these kids in institutions. I saw an interview with the governor of Arkansas, and the interviewers asked the governor, the state of Arkansas has a very restrictive abortion law that's going to take effect. And the state of Arkansas is 48th in healthcare, overall healthcare, 47th in child healthcare, and 48th in child poverty.
Yeah,
in the country. And the governor said, well, those are the things we're going to work on. Well, what the hell have you been doing for the last 100 years?
Right. And it's are they going to start taking care of the pregnant women who can't afford it?
Of course not. Of course not. And then the I just loved Justice Alito's comment that the Constitution makes no express reference to a woman's right to an abortion, and that legal abortion, doesn't have any deep roots in American history. How about the last 50 years? And how about all the other things? Women didn't have the right to vote according to the Constitution either.
Well, that I might agree with him. I think you should take it away.
Don't even say it. Don't even say it.
Controversial.
We'll get all kinds of hate mail. Yeah. And then I also thought that the real telling tale was Justice Thomas saying that maybe we can revisit some of these other opinions that have been handed down, should be reconsidered. So he said that contraception should be one issue that should be considered. Same-sex consensual relationships and same-sex marriage. He said those things were based on erroneous decisions. The interesting thing is that the fourth ruling on this would also include, which would fall into the same category, is interracial marriages, which he didn't.
I wonder who that would affect.
That would affect Clarence Thomas and his wife also. So
actually, he probably didn't want to say it because Ginny would probably throw him out, but that's what he probably meant. Maybe he wants to get rid of her because she's becoming so controversial.
She refused to testify yesterday. She sent a letter to the committee. the January 6th committee.
But I'll tell you, I was listening to January 6th, just to get off the topic a minute. I was listening to the January 6th, committee, and they had, what did they have on, the general?
General Flynn.
Yeah, General Flynn. He sounded like he was part of the mafia. I take the fifth. I take the fifth.
148 Fifth Amendments. Before we leave this Roe versus Wade this afternoon, and I know you probably didn't hear this, Malcolm. This afternoon, President Biden said that he would be in favor of abolishing the filibuster in order to codify a woman's right to abortion and her reproductive rights.
Yeah, I heard a partial of it, but there was something like this wouldn't be a blanket doing away with the filibuster. It would be like for a special.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
I think, I'm not sure, because I've been running around. I did other shows today, so I really didn't hear it.
Okay, I didn't.
News.
I didn't. He said, "Oh, well, I think what I wrote down was, yeah, make an exception to the filibuster. He's in favor of making an exception. Now, I guess that's not abolishing the filibuster.
Yeah, I would like to see it abolished.
Huh?
I would like to see it abolished, the filibuster.
Absolutely. In what democracy does not a majority rule? Isn't that the basic fundamental concept
Well,
of
someone
democracy?
said we're not a true democracy, we're a republic.
Well, even so.
And
Why do we have the filibuster? Do you know why we have the filibuster?
Yeah, because the Democratic Party couldn't get in equal rights amendments during the post in the South during the I think in the 30s and 40s, when they wanted to do away with a lot of the racist laws.
It's those Southern Democrats who wanted to keep segregation in the South. You know, those blue dog Democrats or whatever the hell they're called.
They were called the Dixiecrats.
Yeah, those guys, and they were all men. Those guys were the guys that wanted to keep the filibuster. And today we still have it. For what reason? To keep the Jim Crow South happy still? That's a bunch of BS. Get rid of it.
Yeah, well, again, we're not a true democracy because it's not a rule by the people, by the majority. It's a rule by laws, by the Constitution. So it doesn't make a difference whether people are for it or against it. If it's against the Constitution, it's illegal. Except what I don't understand is people say, well, we have to be originalists and have to.
Well, to follow that same train of thought, the filibuster is not in the Constitution.
Right.
That was not part of the original Constitution. It was not part of our original form of government. It wasn't until the mid 1800s that the filibuster came about. I think it was 1830.
Well, I don't even know where the Supreme Court, that was, there's no given number on the Supreme Court. I don't know how the original Supreme Court was. I think somehow number 7 sticks out in my mind.
The original, as a matter of fact, I read even that the original Roe v. Wade ruling was done only with 7 justices because there were 2 absent on the bench.
Oh.
2 vacancies on the bench when they did the ruling, and they redid the ruling when they nominated and passed and got the vacancies filled on the bench. Then the ruling became, it was a 7-2 ruling that instituted the original 1972 or 1973.
I think it was, yeah.
So.
Yeah, but now the Supreme Court has become, well, I remember in the days when people thought the Supreme Court was apolitical.
That was when it was liberal. You thought that, Malcolm. And the conservatives always thought that the Supreme Court was political back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and into the 90s. And then
when you were running for politics, were you, I forget, you were a Republican, I think, right? Or no?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
was
It was always a Dem.
I was an independent for a lot of years.
Yeah, well, I always say I'm an independent thinker because what I hate is everything is so predictable now. Whether it's a House vote, the Senate vote, or the Supreme Court, we know the Supreme Court's going to be 6-3 until further notice. That there's going to be in the Senate it's going to be 50-50 vote, and Manchin and Sinema is going to not prevent us from doing anything, and the Congress is and the House of Rep will be whatever it is until possibly the 2022 election where the Republicans might be taking over, and they're going to start switching all the rules, all the laws.
Yep.
I think it's a time that I might consider moving out of the country for the first time in my life.
I considered it in the 60s during the Vietnam War, and then I got a favorable ruling from the draft board, so I didn't have to go to Vietnam. But let's skip over to the House Select Committee on January 6th uprising. I thought that I'm not sure. We talked about this last week. Did we talk about the witness? Yes, we talked about the witnesses that they had last week from the Justice Department,
right,
and the state of Georgia and the state of Arizona.
Yeah, but we didn't talk about Hutchinson that came in on Tuesday as a surprise witness.
Correct. She laid a few bombshells, although they've been scurrying around trying to discredit her all day today, saying that that Trump never did try to wrestle away the SUV and go to the Capitol. I guess the Secret Service referred to it as the beast.
Yeah.
The beast. Trump wanted to go to the Capitol. He wanted it, and he didn't care.
But that was the only thing. But that was the only thing in question. If and whether he tried to wrestle it away, and one of this the Secret Service says no, he didn't. But of course, or he was hurt to say no, they didn't. But he's not under oath.
Right. I think that there was two telling quotes. One, when he wanted the magnetometers taken away.
Yeah.
Because he said, these people are not here to hurt me.
Right. So you could have your AK-15, AR-15, with you. So I mean that basically said he knew they were armed and they were dangerous.
He knew they were armed and he knew they were dangerous, and he sent them to the Capitol.
Right.
And as far as and I'm not any legal scholar by any stretch of the imagination, but as far as I'm concerned, that is, an insurrection, leading an insurrection, encouraging an insurrection
to
overthrow the government.
Yeah, I think the question is,
he was so adamant he wanted to go to the Capitol because I think that he felt that if he confronted Pence, Vice President Pence, he could get him to change the vote. That's why he wanted to go to the Capitol.
Yeah, possibly he could scare him into changing the vote.
Yes, with all his buddies.
Yeah, but
with all his newfound buddies. So the Secret Service wouldn't take him down to the Capitol. They brought him back to the White House, and then he didn't even have the guts to call off the mob.
Yeah. I think if he was in any other office except the presidency, he would be indicted by the DOJ if anybody else did that. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen, whether he's going to be indicted. Certainly, a lot of his other people might be that worked with him. In fact, the only
Well,
one that
now they've officially subpoenaed the White House attorney, Ciparoni,
yeah,
and he can now testify under oath as to what Cassidy Hutchinson said yesterday, which was, her conversations with him. And if he, collaborates those conversations,
yeah, because this ain't hearsay anymore. This is somebody that actually
Yeah.
heard them, spoke to them. She was, inches away from Mark Meadows and the entire time.
Well, I heard a former prosecutor, a Department of Justice prosecutor, say after the hearing, you're never going to find a note on presidential letterhead that said, I wanted to do this. I mean, Trump didn't write it down anywhere. So the best you're ever going to get is someone relating a conversation that they overheard in the Oval Office or somewhere else of, what his intent was. So we're pretty close to getting that intent right now.
Anyway, when are the hearing? When are they going to have further hearings? I mean, not hearings, but when are they going to air it out again on TV? If that's supposed
I think they're on recess for a couple of weeks. So
Why
they don't just get the 4th of July off. They get a couple of weeks off.
Why the hell are they in recess when nothing is happening? When it's such an important period, and they go back home. They originally said, "Well, we got to speak to our voters." They don't have to speak person to person. There's something that's known as the internet, Zoom. They can see as many people, through the internet as they can if they, when they're in their home state.
I'm surprised that some congressmen have not instituted Zoom meetings, but they still do town halls. I know our congressmen around here do physical town hall meetings. I mean, they call them town hall meetings.
They do both. I mean, my congressman does, calls up, there's gonna be a town hall meeting. If you come here at so-and-so, if not, you can get it on, they give you the internet site.
Oh, okay.
Both. But anyway, our time is up, believe it or not.
Really?
Yep.
One last thing.
My little beeper went off.
Mark Meadows and Rudy Giuliani had requested pardons from Trump. What does that tell you? They felt guilty, maybe?
Yeah. Well, supposedly there was something that I heard, I remember before he left office, that he could put in pardons that would be, in the office, that wouldn't be revealed until people, ask for them.
I don't know anything about
that. I don't know, but
I'll have to look that up, Malcolm. That's a good research project for next week.
Okay, well, you have it sounds ridiculous. Have a happy 4th.
Thank you. You too. And I think next week, in all honesty, I believe next week will be a slow news week.
I don't think there'll be another slow news week till the end of the election. Speak to you then. Speak to you later.
Happy 4th.
Remember, you're listening to us at Democracy 2.0 with Wayne Bouchard, heard on malcolmpresents.com, and you can get all back shows. Just go to malcolmpresents.com, go to Democracy 2.0. See you later, kid.
Thank you, Malcolm. Take care. Bye now.